England are out. Another tournament, another disappointment.
Golden generation, more like a golden failure.
With world-class players, how did England manage to win nothing?
So much hope, so much talent, yet once again, England falls short.
Imagine this, a group of footballers so talented, so promising, that they could conquer the football world. England's so-called golden generation, a squad full of Premier League superstars, top-tier international talents, and players who were capable of achieving greatness. It was supposed to be England's time to shine again. The likes of Steven Gerrard, Frank Lampard, Wayne Rooney, and John Terry, players who at their peak were among the best in the world. Yet, despite their brilliance, they never won a major international tournament. So what happened? Why did a generation that seemed destined for glory fall short, time and time again? The early 2000s were supposed to be England's golden years. The Premier League was one of the best leagues in the world, and English football was producing some of the most talented players the world had ever seen. In the midfield, you had Frank Lampard, a goal-scoring machine at Chelsea, and Steven Gerrard, a leader at Liverpool, both ready to dominate the heart of England's team. In attack, Wayne Rooney, one of the most exciting talents of his generation, seemed destined for greatness. And at the back, John Terry and Rio Ferdinand were solidifying England's defense with commanding performances for Chelsea and Manchester United. These were world-class players, competing at the highest level week in and week out in the Premier League, so surely it was just a matter of time before they conquered Europe and the world. But something was missing. It was the summer of 2004, and England's first big opportunity for glory came at the European Championship in Portugal. Under the guidance of manager Sven-Göran Eriksson, the team had a solid squad, a winning mentality, and looked to be the favorites for the tournament. After all, they had defeated the mighty Croatia and Switzerland in the group stage with some exciting football. In the quarterfinals, England faced off against the host nation, Portugal. It was a dramatic clash, and the game ended in a penalty shootout. England had the chance to win, but once again, fate intervened. The penalty shootout became England's nightmare as they missed 3 penalties. England was out, crushed by a series of missed opportunities, and Portugal progressed. What happened? With some of the world's best players, England couldn't handle the pressure. As the years went on, it became clear England was cursed when it came to penalty shootouts. In both 1990 and 1996, England had been knocked out of major tournaments in penalty shootouts. The 2004 defeat to Portugal was just another addition to this painful legacy. But it wasn't just penalties that held them back. It was the way they played. Despite having some of the best individual talents in the world, the team often lacked cohesion. They were a collection of superstars, yes, but they couldn't seem to play as a team. The golden generation was plagued by a lack of tactical discipline, poor teamwork, and an inability to rise to the occasion when it mattered most. Fast forward to 2006, and the hopes were high again. The team was packed with talent, including the likes of David Beckham, Frank Lampard, and the young Wayne Rooney. They made it all the way to the quarterfinals, and many believed they were just a few steps away from greatness. But once again, England found themselves facing Portugal. This time, England's talisman, Wayne Rooney, was sent off for a controversial red card, and the game went into another penalty shootout. Guess what happened? Another heartbreaking loss. England were out. The dream was over once again. The bitter truth was starting to sink in. Despite all their talent, England could never quite get the job done on the biggest stages. Why? One of the biggest questions surrounding the golden generation was leadership. On the field, players like Steven Gerrard, Frank Lampard, and John Terry were all strong leaders at their respective clubs. But when they played for England, it seemed like no one was in charge. Sven-Göran Eriksson, the Swedish manager, struggled to get the best out of these superstars. Despite being a respected coach, he seemed unable to form a cohesive unit. The question many asked was, who is England's true leader? Was it Beckham, who was undeniably talented, but often criticized for his lack of presence on the pitch? Was it Terry, who led Chelsea with distinction, but couldn't bring that leadership to the national team? Or was it someone like Gerrard or Lampard, both of whom were star players but struggled to perform for their country? The lack of a clear leader on and off the pitch often left England in disarray, especially when things got tough in big matches. By the time the 2010 World Cup came around, the Golden Generation's window for glory was quickly closing. The team was aging, and although they had some talented young players, the squad wasn't quite as dynamic as it had been in the mid-2000s. England's poor performances in the tournament were a reflection of their struggles over the years. They were beaten 4-1 by Germany in the round of 16, and that was it. Another disappointing exit. But this time, it felt different. It was the end of an era, and the dream of a golden generation winning a major tournament seemed further away than ever. The golden generation had failed to deliver. Let's talk about something that no one likes to admit: the pressure. England's golden generation came with huge expectations, both from the media and from the fans. Every time the national team played, the pressure to win was overwhelming. England was expected to win, and anything less than a victory was considered a failure. That pressure was enormous, and it weighed on the players. The media created a frenzy around each tournament, and instead of inspiring the team, it often worked against them. Players like Rooney, who was young and full of potential, were sometimes made out to be villains when things didn't go well. The combination of pressure, criticism, and lack of leadership created an environment where success seemed impossible. So what went wrong? Why couldn't the golden generation win a major tournament? Was it bad luck, poor tactics, or was it something deeper? Maybe it was a combination of all these factors. The players were immensely talented, but they lacked the unity and leadership to make it happen. England had the individuals, but they couldn't play as a team. The pressure was too great, and the expectations were too high. They couldn't handle the weight of history. But even though they never won a major tournament, the golden generation still left a lasting impact on English football. Their time together brought attention to the national team and paved the way for the younger players who would follow in their footsteps. Today, England's new generation, led by players like Harry Kane, Raheem Sterling, and Marcus Rashford, have shown signs of promise, but the question still lingers. Could the golden generation have won if the pieces had come together? There's no easy answer, but one thing is certain. England's golden years may be behind them, but the future could be bright. The lessons learned from the failures of the past will hopefully help the new generation avoid the same pitfalls. England's golden generation might not have won a major tournament, but their legacy is far from forgotten. Their story is one of near glory, of what could have been, and of a team that, despite all its individual brilliance, couldn't quite put it all together. But football is full of surprises, and as the years go by, who knows? Maybe one day England will look back on their golden generation with pride, knowing that their time may have passed, but their influence lives on.